My name's Ethan Park, and I was 26 when this all went down. I had been a professional bike mechanic for nearly 5 years at the time, working my way up from a floor tech to lead mechanic, and soon to be service manager. I wasn't just wrenching on bikes for fun, I lived, breathed, and rode them every single day. High-end road bikes, carbon fiber frames, e-bikes, vintage racers, you name it, I fixed it. But if there was one thing I couldn't seem to fix, it was people's assumptions. You see, I look young. I've got that baby face, smooth skin, and Asian don't raisin genes. While that's a blessing in most social situations, in the bike shop world where customers expected some grizzled, grease-covered guy who looked like he could bench press a fat tire e-bike, I looked like someone's college kid helping out for the summer. And on one particular Saturday, that was about to become a problem. It was the kind of day where you're already sweating before your shift starts. The sun was high, the sidewalk was packed with cyclists rolling in for flats, tune-ups, adjustments, you name it. The line at the service counter was long, the shop was buzzing, and I was manning the front like I always did, smooth, efficient, precise. Then she walked in. Middle-aged. Designer sunglasses. Crisp athleisure. And a very expensive carbon frame road bike with aero wheels. The kind of customer who believed in two things, the perfect cadence, and that the world should bend around her. I greeted her with a smile. Hi there. Need some help? She looked me up and down, and I could see it, that pause. The flicker of doubt in her eyes. Like I was the janitor who accidentally picked up a wrench. She spoke slowly, deliberately. Are you the mechanic? I smiled, still polite. Yes ma'am, I've been a tech here for almost 5 years. What can I help you with? Her lips pursed. Is there someone older I can speak to? Someone a bit more experienced? Ouch. But I'd heard it before. It wasn't the first time a customer had judged me by my face instead of my skills. And it probably wouldn't be the last. But there was something about her tone, the smugness, the dismissiveness, that made it sting. Still, I kept my cool. I motioned to Joe. Joe was a nice guy, mid-60s, ex-carpenter turned bike tech. He'd only been with us about 2 years and was still learning the ropes. He was dependable for building new bikes, but not the guy you want diagnosing a high-end shifting issue or a bottom bracket creak. Still, he looked the part. Gray hair. Rough hands. Deep voice. The visual comfort food for people like her. Joe, I called, this customer needs a hand. She perked up immediately. Oh wonderful, she beamed, as if Santa Claus himself had shown up. Joe nodded at me, a bit confused, but stepped up. And just like that, I slid back into the flow, checking in other customers, assigning work orders, diagnosing issues like a machine. What she didn't realize was, she had just signed up for a much longer ride than she expected. I'm breezing through check-ins. I helped over 15 customers in that time, everything from $40 flat fixes to $800 suspension rebuilds. The shop was humming. Joe, on the other hand, was still with her. I glanced over occasionally. I could see her face shifting, frowns, eye rolls, arms crossed. Joe was doing his best, but he was slow. Double-checking part numbers. Looking through catalogs. Asking me quiet questions from time to time. Ethan, what derailleur hanger fits this model? Is this cassette too worn? Where do we keep the aero brake pads again? Each time, I helped. Efficiently. Quietly. No attitude. But oh man, inside. I was chuckling. She got exactly what she asked for, an older, more experienced mechanic. And now, she was stuck in her own little purgatory. At one point, I caught Joe explaining to her that I'd actually been the lead tech for years and that he often asked me for advice. He even said, and I swear this made my whole week. You can't judge a book by its cover. Ethan may look young, but he probably knows more than all of us combined. I don't know if Joe overheard her little request for someone older, or if he was just being honest. Either way, the look on her face was priceless. Still, she stayed quiet. Just nodded stiffly. The damage to her ego was done. I wiped my hands, grabbed my keys, and walked across the street to Taco Bell. Got my crunch wrap, took my time, enjoyed the AC, came back maybe 40 minutes later. And she was still there. Still talking to Joe. Still holding that same tense posture. Like her entire day had gone sideways. I walked past her, calm and relaxed, and said, "Have a great day, ma'am." She didn't reply. Just glared and walked away. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But that was the win. She came in thinking I was just some kid who didn't know a derailleur from a drop bar. And she left realizing she'd wasted over an hour because she couldn't get past her own bias. She asked for an older mechanic. She got exactly what she asked for. And I got exactly what I needed, satisfaction. After that Saturday showdown, I figured that was it. Just another petty customer interaction to toss into the pile of entitled people who underestimated me. I thought the whole situation with the older mechanic was over. But I was wrong. Because the universe has a way of throwing people back into your path, especially the ones who need a second lesson. It had been 5 days since older mechanic lady walked out with her pride bruised and her carbon frame diva bike untouched. We were wrapping up a hectic Friday. The kind of day where everyone's just hanging on by a thread, praying no one wheels in a disaster repair 5 minutes before closing. Then I saw it, her. Walking into the shop again. Same sunglasses. Same posture. But this time, she looked a little less sure of herself. She glanced around until her eyes landed on me. And just like before, she hesitated. I gave her a polite nod and said, "Hi there. Need help?" She opened her mouth like she was about to ask for Joe again. But then, she stopped. She looked around. Joe wasn't there. Neither was our other senior tech, Dan. Just me and 2 junior guys, both 20-year-olds still learning how to true wheels without creating an hour-long repair. She cleared her throat. "Yes. My bike is making a strange clicking sound whenever I shift into the second ring. And it's not smooth." I nodded. "Bring it over. I'll take a look." "That's right. No, can I speak to someone older, this time?" No squinting at my name tag. Just straight up surrender. It's funny how quickly experience becomes irrelevant when you've exhausted all other options. She wheeled the bike in and stood awkwardly nearby as I popped it on the stand, grabbed my tools, and went to work. I spun the crank, listened to the derailleur, adjusted the limit screws, checked cable tension, and then got to the heart of the problem. The front derailleur was ever so slightly bent inward. Likely caused when she'd laid the bike on its side, common rookie mistake. The click she was hearing wasn't the chain or the shifter. It was the cage brushing the chain under load. 5 minutes later, I had it adjusted, cleaned, and running smooth as silk. I handed it back to her. "All set. That sound won't come back." She looked surprised. "That was fast." I just smiled. When you've done this enough times, your hands start to think before your brain does. She gave me a tight, awkward nod. "Thank you." She didn't apologize. She didn't acknowledge last week's insult. But I didn't need her to. Her silence was the apology. We were holding our usual Saturday pre-shift meeting when our store manager, Lindsay, pulled me aside. "Hey," she said, "that lady from last weekend? The one who asked for Joe?" I laughed. "Oh yeah. How could I forget?" She filled out a survey. Gave the store 4 stars. 4. Not 5. Lindsay smirked. She marked you specifically and said, and I quote, "Ethan was very fast and seemed to really know what he was doing. I regret not working with him sooner." I grinned. "I'll take it." That's when it hit me. Some people aren't just mean. They're scared. Scared to trust someone who doesn't look like the expert they expect. Scared to be wrong in their assumptions. Scared to admit they misjudged someone. But sometimes, those are the people who need your calm, quiet excellence the most. Because nothing says, "I told you so," quite like doing your job flawlessly, while they stand there swallowing their pride. I'm working on a full drivetrain replacement when I hear a voice behind me. "Hi, Ethan." I turn. It's her. Again. But this time, she's smiling. "I recommended your shop to 2 of my friends. They're both kind of snobby about their bikes. But I told them to ask for you." I blink. "Well, thank you. That means a lot." She hesitates. "You know. I think I assumed you were just a college kid last time." I shouldn't have. I pause, letting the moment sit. "It happens," I say finally. "But I hope I changed your mind." She smiled, more genuinely this time. "You did. Sometimes, revenge doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes, it's not fire and fury. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge is the quiet kind, the kind where you let your work speak for itself. The kind where people walk away thinking, maybe I was wrong about him. And you? You walk away knowing, they'll never make that mistake again." So far, the victory had been quiet. Subtle. Satisfying. The kind of win you carry with you silently, like a badge no one can see, but you know it's there. But not everyone learns their lesson the quiet way. And as I was about to find out, some people need the lesson screamed in their face. We were running a huge promotion, 15% off tune-ups, and the whole city's cycling community knew it. The shop was buzzing. People were lining up before the doors even opened. It was like Black Friday, for bikes. I was scheduled to work the repair intake desk that morning, meaning I'd be the one talking to customers, checking bikes, diagnosing issues, and assigning work orders. By now, I had become the go-to guy for a lot of returning customers. Word had spread. A few regulars even greeted me with, "Hey, Ethan. Got a sec," before I'd even looked up. But the crowd always brings someone who thinks they're better than everyone else. And this time, his name was, let's call him Derek. Tall, mid-40s, full cycling kit like he was about to compete in the Tour de France, even though his legs screamed, "Weekend Warrior." He wheeled in a high-end $6,000 carbon road bike like it was a newborn baby. He walked right past the line and dropped it on the counter. "You there? I need a full tune. Cables are slipping, and the shifting's off. This thing cost me more than your salary, so don't screw it up." I blinked. "Hi," I said. "We've got a few ahead of you, but if you can leave it, I'll make sure it gets handled today." He squinted at my shirt. "You the tech?" I nodded. "One of them, yeah." He laughed, a scoff, "Really? Look, no offense, kid. But I need someone who knows what they're doing. Get me whoever handles the expensive bikes." I kept my tone neutral. "I do. In fact, I handle most of the high-end bikes we see. And I'm the only one on intake today." He waved a dismissive hand. "Nah. Get the old guy. The one with the beard. Joe." There it was. Again. That assumption. That prejudice. That instant disrespect because of how young I looked. But today, I wasn't in the mood for quiet revenge. Today, he was going to learn the loud way. Right then, Lindsay walked by. Derek spotted her and motioned her over. "Can you get me a senior mechanic? I don't want a trainee messing up my drivetrain." Lindsay gave me a look. I gave her a small nod. She smiled sweetly at Derek. "Actually, Ethan is our most experienced tech on staff today. He's worked on every model we carry, trained most of our team, and regularly handles our VIP customers." Derek frowned. "He looks like he's 19. I'm 27, I cut in, and I've been working on bikes longer than most people keep their gym memberships. But hey, if you're uncomfortable, you're welcome to take your business elsewhere." Boom. There it was. An open challenge. His eyes widened. His ego flared. But so did the eyes of everyone in the shop. People were watching now. Customers. Co-workers. That nervous kid waiting behind him with a squeaky cruiser. And he knew it. He couldn't back down without looking weak. So instead, he leaned forward and said, "Fine. Prove it." I wheeled his bike onto the stand, right in front of him and the growing crowd. I popped the seat clamp, pulled the cable, replaced the housing, tuned the indexing, adjusted the tension, and realigned the derailleur, all in under 15 minutes. Then I pulled the rear wheel, cleaned the cassette, and reinstalled it so smoothly it spun like glass. All while explaining each step. And now, with the cable tension corrected and the B-screw dialed in, you'll notice a crisp shift, especially under load. I spun the crank and shifted gears in front of him. Perfect. No clicks. No lag. Dead. Silent. Precision. Derek just stood there. "That was fast," he muttered. "Yeah," I said. "Almost like I know what I'm doing." The best part? The kid waiting behind him. He whispered, "Dude, you're like the bike wizard or something." And suddenly, the crowd, once quietly observing, started clapping. Not a roaring applause or anything, but enough. Enough to make Derek's ears go red. He grabbed his bike and didn't say a word. But the next week, he came back. Not for repairs. To buy new bar tape. And he asked for me. By name. I was unwrapping my sandwich when Lindsay peeked in. You know what Derek told me? I raised an eyebrow. He said, and I quote, "That kid's good. Too good." I feel dumb for judging him. Don't tell him I said that. We both laughed. Too late, I said. He already did. That's the thing about being underestimated. It can burn. It can annoy you. It can even make you question yourself. But when you stand tall, stay calm, and let your skills do the talking. You don't just win. You change the room. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't a loud clapback. It's not even proving them wrong in the moment. It's what happens after. When your name becomes the answer to a question they never thought to ask. When the room changes because of you. This is the part of the story where everything I'd endured, paid off in ways I never expected. By now, the vibe at the shop had shifted. The sneers. Gone. The second guessing. Gone. And remember the woman from the beginning? The one who had asked for someone more experienced because I looked too young. Let's just say, she came back. I was fixing a flat when I heard the door chime. I looked up, and it was her. She had a new helmet under her arm and a sheepish smile. "Hey," she said quietly. I was wondering, could you take a look at my derailleur again? It's skipping. She didn't mention the last time. She didn't have to. I gave her a small smile. Of course. Let's take a look. This time, she waited patiently while I worked. Watched every move. And when I was done, she smiled wide. "Thank you, Anne. I'm sorry. You clearly know your stuff. That moment. That was more than just fixing a bike. That was a bridge rebuilt. A mind changed. One of many, actually. Lindsay pulled me aside a week later. Hey, Ethan. We're hiring a new tech next month. I nodded. Cool. She grinned. We want you to train them. That stopped me cold. Me. The kid who wasn't experienced enough. Now being trusted to shape the next generation. I smiled. Yeah. I'd like that. I wasn't just fixing bikes anymore. I was fixing perceptions. One customer at a time. One coworker at a time. And something funny happened. People started asking for me. By name. Customers. Vendors. Even other shops sent people my way when they had something tricky. I had gone from the kid who looked too young to know anything to the guy everyone trusted. And all because I stayed consistent. Because I let the work speak louder than the insults. It was our end of summer celebration. Small crowd. Pizza, soda, lots of jokes. At the end of the night, Lindsay stood up with a paper in her hand. Okay, she said, we've got one last thing. A little surprise. She held up a small plaque. In recognition of exceptional skill, patience, and professionalism, this year's Wrench of the Year goes to. She looked at me. Smirked. The guy who apparently looks 19 but runs circles around all of us, Ethan. The room clapped. Loud this time. Even Joe, the bearded senior tech who once barely acknowledged me. He raised his soda can in salute. I walked up. Took the plaque. Smiled. And in that moment, I felt seen. Respected. Valid. The thing about revenge. It doesn't always come wrapped in drama. Sometimes, it's quiet. It's patient. It's walking into the same room where they once doubted you. As the most respected voice in the room. Not because you yelled. But because you never gave them a reason to doubt you again. So, what do you think? Was I too patient, or was the slow burn revenge just right? If you've ever been underestimated, or had to prove your worth just because of how you look, drop your story in the comments. I read every one. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss another satisfying revenge story. Bell. Until next time. Stay humble. Stay sharp. And let your work speak louder than the noise.